Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and today we're going to be talking about the lightning element. Specifically, we're going to be talking about how it is the worst element in the game, and we're going to talk about why. There's a lot of people right now who are saying, it's not fair that another 100 cost unit is coming out for global. It's not fair that lightning's now completely going to destroy water. I don't think that's the case, and let's look at the statistics, let's look at the numbers, and show you how bad of a situation lightning is actually in. Let's go ahead and dig in. So anyone who has actually tried to make a PvE lightning composition can probably tell you that lightning is in a very bad spot. If you don't have Cloud, if you don't have Ibarra, good luck putting together a PvE lightning composition. Now, the first thing we're going to look at, though, is not the actual units. We're going to look at the number of VCs that lightning has access to. Now, these are going to be VCs that have specific buffs for the lightning element. And you'll notice glaringly in red across this almost entire board here for lightning is the fact that lightning only has 7 UR VCs in its kind of repertoire. It will have 8 now that we have the Esther VC coming out, but that still puts it at the very bottom. Consider, water has 12, ice has 12, earth has 11, wind 11, dark 11, light 12, and fire 10. Interestingly, the 2 elements that have the least VCs are kind of the elements that I do think are currently struggling in the game. So we have 7 UR VCs. What else is unique about lightning in terms of their vision cards? Well, for those of you that have tried to build a lightning composition or have worked with a lightning team before, lightning is the only element in the game, the only element that doesn't have a vision card that boosts plus 35 lightning for the party. Every other element has a relevant VC that buffs that type of elemental attack. Of course, you have Coral, who's going to be, of course, a MR VC, which a lot of people will put, but there is no UR VC that universally buffs lightning. Now, out of all of these VCs, lightning also has the least amount of limited VCs. So that means there's going to be a lack in diversity for what you can set for your VCs. And these limited VCs, unlike Dark, right, where Dark has 3 limited VCs, but Dark has the limited VCs are Demon Wall, they're Dwayne's VC, and they're the Happy Birthday VC, right? Lightning, the limited VCs are Ibarra's VC and Cloud's VC. Good luck creating a composition without either of those vision cards. You will never be able to make lightning successful without those vision cards, very similar to how you will never be able to make lightning successful without Ibarra and Cloud. Imagine on the JP side, they didn't have access to Ibarra. Imagine the dead zone that lightning was in for an extremely long time, right? These are all statistics with us having Ibarra on the global side. Imagine not having Ibarra and still not having Ibarra on the JP side. Then we come to the total amount of UR units that an element has. And lightning, no surprise, has the least amount of UR units. And as we'll discuss here in a moment, it has the least amount of viable UR units. There's a reason Velnay's up here, and let me tell you, it's not because she's a good lightning unit. Out of all of the lightning units, lightning actually has 5 limited units. And you would say, well, is that good? It's not highlighted in red. Well, let me tell you, it's not amazing, because that means over 50% of their pool is limited units. And you need to have the 2 units that are limited, right? You need to have Cloud, you need to have Ibarra, and pretty soon you're going to need to have Esther if you want lightning to be viable at all. So there's a lot working against lightning. Now, let's talk about lightning in comparison to water and light. Now, what we have listed here is all of the lightning UR units, we have all of the water UR units, we have all of the light UR units, and we have the units that are coming out in the future as well. And the one thing you'll notice here right away, lightning is of course the smallest. We just went over those numbers. That shouldn't be a surprise. However, what may surprise people is the second row of units that I broke down. And the second row of units that I broke down, I would categorize myself as quote unquote viable units. So what does a viable unit mean? In terms of PvP, it means that you can utilize that unit in PvP. And I would argue you could remove Renan and put Frederica down here. There are some people who choose to put Nivlu down here. The reality is, though, you know, these units are not going to be fully viable. The only really PvP viable units for Lightning will be Cloud, Ibarra, and Charlotte, right? Whereas you look at Water, you have a variety of units that are viable in PvP and that are utilized in PvP, right? You see Farm for evasion, you see Ray Chess, you see Summer Elsorel, you can see Winter Victoria and Lara Croft in a shooting party. Tidus was the most used arena unit in the game, right? Aerith, people swear by how incredible she is. Celeste, everybody pulled her because of her runic ability, right? All of these units are viable for PvP, right? Lightning does not necessarily have that viability. Frederica, yes. Nivlu, yes. You could get a little use out of them. You could have a little fun, right? You could run Skahal, right? And Skahal, you're going to be running because he's quote unquote fun, not because he's good, okay? Renan's AI, arguably you should take Renan and just throw him out of here because he doesn't even work that good. So, I mean, compared to Light, compared to Water, compared to Thunder, overall, you have an element that does not have the synergy required to be effective. It doesn't have the capability to survive in high tier PvP. And the only reason it's successful in PvE is literally because of Cloud. Now, let's talk about that. A lot of you know that I've been doing a elemental guide video for the different elements, and I've been creating kind of a different series around it. So I wanted to give them very specific kind of markings in terms of what I would do for that guide. So here we have every single Lightning UR unit. And the one thing you're going to notice is that I tended to focus on multi-hit abilities as well as access to debuffs, because that's what you care about in PvE, right? You care about putting together a composition that can debuff the opponent. I know a lot of people in this video in the comments are going to be like, Lightning's amazing in PvE. The reality is Lightning is only amazing in PvE, not because Lightning itself is amazing, but because Cloud is amazing, right? Cloud is arguably one of the best units in the game next to Elida, and the reality is Cloud can carry in many different compositions, right? If you don't have Cloud, good luck making a Lightning composition viable. You're more likely to have a more successful Lightning composition by taking out Lightning units and having Cloud solo stuff than actually putting together a Lightning formation, because they're going to waste turns, right? I mean, Velnay isn't even on the list here because Velnay doesn't even have 100% hit attack. She doesn't debuff the enemy. All she does is damage, and she sucks at doing damage. I don't know why people still love her. Literally the most garbage unit in the game. Now, Frederica, she does have 100% hit. She has a 2x hit. You know, she's been around for a while. I think Frederica deserves the kudos, right? Frederica deserves the kudos because she's been around. And for a unit that was here at the start of the game, she is a very powerful unit to still somewhat be relevant right now, right? She does tend to be falling off, and hopefully a second mastery ability will refresh her a little bit. But you're seeing a lot less Fredericas nowadays, unless you're seeing like a ranged Lightning composition with Cloud, right? And even then, she's not in the composition because she's amazing. She's in the composition because you're running Cloud as a ranged unit and you want ranged support. Skahal lowers thunder resistance 38. That's what he does. Ibarra also lowers thunder resistance 38. Charlotte also lowers thunder resistance 38. You have three units, three very powerful units whose literal PvE kind of asset to the team is to lower thunder resistance. You wouldn't think that we would want something else like spirit reduction or defense reduction or slash resistance reduction, magic resistance reduction, right? Now, Renan does have access to magic resistance reduction, but you're in this situation where, you know, you look at compositions like Light, you look at units like Cloud, right? Other elements have compositions where they have 3 or 4 units that have the PvE prowess that Cloud has, right? They have the capability to lower slash resistance. They have the capability to lower defense. They may not be as powerful as Cloud, but the 4 of them combined are going to be much more powerful than Cloud and anything you could put together in a Lightning formation. And that's the biggest problem here. What I'm hoping Esther brings is a solution to the PvE situation for lightning. There are a lot of times where I've used Sir O in lightning and chained lightning slash. There's a lot of times in lightning slash where I'm using Sid still. There's a lot of times where popping Sid for, you know, that slash chaining and that defense down is the viable option, right? You're so desperate for slash attacks, you're running 9S with sub Nightblade, right? And it's painful, right? To top all of this off, you don't have the VCs to support a PvE environment, and lightning just quickly goes down the hole as one of the most viable PvE elements. I would actually argue, with the current state of the game, lightning is in the worst spot elemental wise for anything PvE content wise. I actually think fire, you know, at least with fire, you have the synergy of slash reduction, magic reduction, fire resistance reduction, right? You can put together a reasonable fire slash composition. Lightning is so all over the board that, you know, you have pierce units, you have magic units, you have missile units, you have slash units. They're so all over the board that there's very little synergy between all of them, and that overall makes the elements suffer. Anyway, everybody, I hope you guys all enjoyed this. I hope y'all know a little bit more about lightning now, and maybe I changed some of your guys' minds. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.